about meditation. I think you have been listening the instruction tape every day. We practice, yogis here practice meditation according to Satipatthana Sutta. There are 4 foundations of mindfulness. They are Kaya Nupassana, contemplation of the body; Vedana Nupassana, contemplation of feelings; Citta Nupassana, contemplation of the mind; Dhamma Nupassana, contemplation of the Dhamma. According to these instructions, our yogis here practice insight meditation or vipassana meditation. Contemplation of the body, noting rising and falling, keeping the mind on the abdomen, and note rising as rising, falling as falling is Kaya Nupassana, contemplation of the body. When the feeling arises somewhere in the body, we have to note feeling such as pain, numbness, stiffness, and these are contemplation of feelings. Then even though you try to keep the mind on the abdomen, you cannot keep the mind on the abdomen. The mind goes off thinking, wondering, imagining, planning, judging, criticizing. You have to note as they really are. When you are thinking, note thinking. When you are imagining, note imagining. When you are judging, note judging. And this is contemplation of the mind or contemplation of consciousness. And even though you close your eyes, sometimes you might see something or somebody in your eyes or in your mind. You have to note seeing, or hearing, smelling, and tasting, and touching. These are contemplation of the Dhamma. So when we look at the Satipatthana Sutta, the mindfulness, sati, is very important. That's why the Buddha said, Atapa, Sampajana, Satima. These 3 tools are very important. The Buddha said, Atapa, Sampajana, and Satima. Atapa means effort, strenuous effort. When we do something, we must put effort. When we practice meditation, we must apply strenuous effort. Without applying effort, we cannot achieve. According to Satipatthana Sutta, our aim to attain Ariya Magga Phala Jnana, such as Sotapaddi Magga and Phala, Sakadagami Magga and Phala, Anagami Magga and Phala, Arahata Magga and Phala. The Triwana, one Ridana and non-Ridana Arahat. So, unless we attain enlightenment, we cannot be free from suffering. We cannot be free from suffering. We shall be reborn again and again. In this way, we shall experience old age and decay and death many times. So if we want to be free from suffering, we must practice insight meditation or vipassana meditation. So we practice meditation, insight meditation. But if we do not use effort, continuous effort, we may not achieve what we want. What we want. Here, according to the Buddha's teaching, we practice at least how many hours for a day? At least 14 hours maybe, or 10 hours, 7 hours, 17 hours. Here, 70 hours. So quite hard. At the beginning of the practice, you might be rather tired, but after a few weeks, when you are working very hard, you are used to sitting and walking and keeping the eyes down all the time, you might not be tired. So, noting rising, falling when you are sitting, and noting right step, left step, and so on when you are walking. You have to put effort. The effort is very important. That's why the Buddha said, Atapa. Even though you sometimes you might be discouraged if you cannot keep the mind on the main object and trying to encourage yourself, trying to understand what the Buddha taught. Then Atapa, Sampajana, clear comprehension. Clear comprehension cannot come immediately. Cannot come immediately. So we have to be mindful. This is called satima. We must be mindful everything, all actions. Not only sitting meditation and walking meditation. If you do sitting meditation, you have to be mindful on the primary object as you are instructed. Trying to keep the mind on the abdomen, not rising as rising, falling as falling, very carefully. Pay close attention to the primary object. If you do not pay close attention to the primary object, the mind cannot hit the primary object. So you have to be very careful. Careful meaning you put effort. You put effort. Then note rising carefully and note falling carefully. In this way you apply the effort and you apply mindfulness. If you apply mindfulness and effort, you might understand clearly. Clear comprehension. How can you understand clearly when you note rising, your abdomen going up? When you note falling, your abdomen going down, you understand roughly. You understand roughly. If you do not note carefully, even though you note rising, falling, if you do not pay close attention, you cannot see the rising, falling clearly. Let's say you are putting effort and note it very carefully, then rising, falling become clearer. At the beginning of the practice, you could see the rising, falling roughly. Every day, every hour, you are watching very carefully. That's why rising, falling becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. At the beginning of the practice, you cannot catch beginning of the rising, end of the rising, beginning of the falling, end of the falling. Because of your effort and mindfulness, you could catch beginning of the rising, middle of the rising, end of the rising, beginning of the falling, middle of the falling, end of the falling. You could see clearly. If you are not mindful, if you do not put effort, you can see the all part of rising and falling clearly. Now because of your effort in mindfulness, rising, falling become clearer. Even you can see very clearly in a single of the rising and in a single of the falling. Many stages, sometimes yogis, they express, they report, and their practice. When I note rising, I could see the rising, many stages, many process of rising, many process of falling. They can express. Some yogis, they can say when they practice, oh, I could see the rising, falling, many stages. Sometimes I could not see the form. Beginning of the practice, they can see like this. If you say beginning of the practice, I can see very clearly, I can see many stages. It may not be true. Why? Because at the moment of practice, mindfulness is not strong enough yet. Even though you're trying to keep the mind on the abdomen. That's why the Atapa Lona Wuriya or strenuous effort is very important. So in this way, not only the rising and falling, other things you can remember in your body. When the feeling arises, beginning of the practice, yogis, they cannot note the feeling very closely because they are not used to sitting for some time. They do not know how to be patient. They cannot be patient. But with their patience, if they note, they can see different kinds of feeling. Pain change into stiffness, stiffness change into hardness, hardness change into burning sensation, burning sensation change into poking sensation. Different kinds of feeling they can experience. So not only the mindfulness, you also need patience. You have to be patient when the feeling arises. Try to be patient and note it mindfully. Pain, pain, pain. It doesn't matter whether or not it disappears when you note the pain. To understand is important. To understand is important. Not to overcome when the pain rises. Also, you cannot get rid of the pain immediately when you practice meditation. Mostly yogis, they experience different kinds of pain. Different kinds of pain. Sometimes you might not bear the pain. If you cannot bear the pain, you can change once in a while, but do not change so often. If you change the posture too often, you may not get concentration. You may not get concentration. That's why try to be patient as much as you can. If you cannot bear the pain, you can change once in a while. When you change, try to be mindful. Change slowly and note mindfully. Changing, 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 change slowly and mindfully. Even though you change the posture, your mindfulness still continuous. You do not break your mindfulness. If you break your mindfulness, in other words, if you forget to note changing, 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 you cannot understand what they really are in your body, in your mind. So after changing, note again, rising, falling, rising, falling. In this way, you can experience unpleasant feeling, pleasant feeling, and neutral feeling. Not all the times you have painful sensation. If you are patient and not mindfully, sometimes you might experience painful sensation change into pleasant sensation. You do not think it is very painful. You might think or you might experience pleasant sensation, pleasant feeling. Sometimes you do not think it's painful sensation or pleasant sensation, just neutral feeling, because you can bear the pain. Bear the pain. This is a quality of mindfulness, power of mindfulness. If we are not mindful, we cannot experience different kinds of feeling. Also, we cannot understand pain comes and goes, another pain comes and goes. If we are very careful, not mindfully, you may experience it is not solid pain. One pain comes and goes, another pain comes and goes, another pain comes and goes. You might experience. Also, you may experience my knee is pain, my leg is pain, my body is pain. Just pain and noting. Pain and noting you shall experience. Why you experience in this way? Because you are mindful. If you are not mindful, you cannot experience. That's why you might be reminded, trying to be mindful all the time. All the time. So, not only sitting meditation, when you do walking meditation, you have to be mindful. You have to be mindful. Do not look at here and there. Do not look at unnecessarily. Trying to keep the eyes down all the time. If you look at here and there, you forget your mindfulness. When you just look at somewhere without mindfulness, your mind is not with you. So you forget. That's why trying to keep the eyes down all the time. Do not look at here and there unnecessarily. As you are instructed, do note right step, left step, right step, left step. Carefully. The noting mind and object must be together all the time. In other words, the mind must follow the movement closely. If the mind doesn't follow the movement closely, you cannot understand as they really are in your walking. If you are mindful, if the mind could follow the movement closely, you can experience something in the walking. For example, I note right step, left step. I try to note right step, left step very carefully. When I note right step, I notice there is motion in my leg. When I note left step, I notice there is motion in my leg. So you can express roughly, if you are mindful, Then I note lifting and placing. When I note lifting, I experience there is lightness in the lifting. When I note placing, I experience there is heaviness in the placing. So if you are more mindful, you can experience in many ways. Then I note lifting, pushing forward, placing. Lifting, pushing forward, placing. In the lifting, I experience something, this and that. In the pushing forward, I experience this and that. In the placing, I experience this and that. If you are very careful, noting mindfully, you shall experience. That's why you may listen, the appearing, noting, noticing. These three things are very important. These three things are very important: appearing, noting, noticing. When you do sitting meditation, the main object is rising and falling. When the rising and falling appear, yogis note rising as rising, falling as falling. Then when they note rising and falling carefully, they can notice upward movement and downward movement. This is understanding. Noticing is understanding. When you do walking meditation, you note right step, left step. Right step, left step appears. Yogis note right step, left step, and so on. Then they notice the motion or heaviness or stiffness or lightness or hardness. These are the noticing. Noticing. In this way, they can experience clear comprehension, sampajana. If you are not mindful, if you do not put full effort or strenuous effort, you may not understand clearly sampajana. Sampajana. May not understand clearly. So, to understand clearly as they really are in the body and in the mind, you have to apply mindfulness. You have to apply effort, forced effort or strenuous effort. Strenuous effort. So, of the three, effort and mindfulness are most important. If you are mindful, if you apply effort, you will understand clearly. Try to remember these are three tools for a yogi, vipassana yogi. Vipassana yogi. So, in this way, we can experience in such knowledges mind and body, then cause and effect, then the three characteristics, rising and fading away nature, we can understand. Without practicing insight meditation or vipassana meditation, we cannot experience insight knowledges. And samatha meditation can get concentration, but cannot understand the rising and fading away nature in the body and in the mind. In the mind. So, in this way, when we want to be free from suffering, trying to practice insight meditation, vipassana meditation, if we want to attain enlightenment. Today I explained Atapa, Sampajana and Satima, three tools. So next day or tomorrow, if I am free, I will try to explain the daily activities. Today, I start for today, so just for half an hour, I will finish today. Okay? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Final joy. Mm.